Live and on your side, WBRC Fox 6 News starts with First Alert Weather.
And with new pictures tonight from Cherokee County where this tree crashed through a mobile home. This is County Road 259 there in Cedar Bluff. Wind also brought some trees down onto power lines. Don't know if anybody was inside this mobile home at the time, but obviously a scary scene there. Also in Cherokee County today, a man suffering damage in two places, his drive-in and his barn. Rex Johnson says this marquee, one of the last parts of the drive-in left from when it opened in 1953. Also had damage to some fencing and poles knocked down. He also owns a barn here that collapsed just up the road. In Jefferson County, crews bringing out chainsaws to clear trees here in Warrior Jasper Road. That tree down caused delays for students trying to get out of Corner High School. Other areas in Bagley saw damage. This mobile home had a trampoline blown into this window, some siding blown off. The best news, though, no serious injuries. JP, we've endured this round one, and the good news, if you look at it this way, this may have been the most intense, but there's more of this on the way.
Yeah, I think so. Tomorrow we will see more thunderstorms. However, Jonathan, I do not think it's going to be to this magnitude. Let's get right to it. The radar, and this is what we're watching. It's back into Texas right now. Louisiana, we're seeing a number of severe thunderstorm warnings in effect around Houston and Galveston. That rain is going to be pushing in later on tonight, getting a little bit closer to us. The rain at this point in time south of Interstate 20. It's really developed south of Montgomery. No severe weather across the state, but what we're going to be looking at during the overnight hours is a little bit of a visibility issue. It would not surprise me to see some patchy fog develop. 67 degrees. Fog as those temperatures cool down to the dew point. There's some rain-soaked ground out there, so while I don't think the fog may necessarily be widespread, we will have some patchy fog, a little bit of rain out there with more organized rain and thunderstorms tomorrow late in the morning and through the afternoon. A first alert for that. Just remember, some of those thunderstorms, even though we're not talking tornado threats here, on occasion you can get some wind gusts over 40 miles per hour. We're coming back to talk more about that extended forecast in just a few minutes.
I'll give you a live picture now from Houston, Texas, where this same storm system has dumped inches and inches of rain with major flooding problems now. You remember the hurricanes brought this to Houston just a couple of years ago, as well as intense rains. Now the problem is back again at Lowline City. They're swamped by floodwaters tonight. Live look here at one of those cars caught in those floodwaters. Again, Houston deluged by rain. It continues tonight. We'll keep an eye on that major flooding there. Here at home, downed trees, branches, and some shingles tossed around. Several trees on her home. This is in North Alabama near the state line where the National Weather Service confirmed an EF0 tornado touchdown. Utility crews you see here trying to deal with those power lines and get them back up and running. In our area, high winds today sometimes come without the tornadoes. But as our First Alert weather team reminds you, these winds, as you saw here, can sometimes be just as dangerous. Josh Gant is on your side tonight with how some communities are making sure you do have a place to go, Josh.
Yeah, the city of Fultondale doesn't wait until they go under warnings. They go ahead and open up their shelters well in advance to keep their community safe. The city has 2 shelters. A third is under construction. Now, a number of shelters around our area open up when there's a tornado watch. Some wait until the actual warning. Chief Meteorologist J.P. Dye says that could be too late. He doesn't want to see you caught out in the storm trying to make it to a shelter. He says a lot of the damage we see in our area is from damaging straight line winds. Now, the city of Fultondale doesn't take any chances and open up their shelters early. It's a better safe than sorry approach.
We always err on the side of caution by opening storm shelters early. We have a large senior population here, and we allow them to get in before the actual rain and the wind starts.
Now, this shelter behind me holds around 400 people. Now, we do see a number of storm shelters in our area opening up early if severe weather is predicted days in advance, and that is good to see. But it's those less severe weather days that sometimes can cause just as much damage. In Fultondale tonight, I'm Josh Gant, WBRC Fox 6 News on your side.
Important reminder, Josh, thanks. The controversial abortion bill sparking some heated, chaotic moments in the state Senate today.
There was no motion.
There was a motion.
He made a motion. He didn't even make a motion, Mr. President.
Hold on, excuse me.
He did not make a
This
motion.
moment drawing national attention tonight. Lawmakers getting heated over that bill to ban nearly all abortions in the state. The Senate removing exceptions for cases of rape and incest on a quick voice vote, but too quick for some Democrats who say it happened too fast and broke out with commotion that lasted for about 5 minutes.
I'm really pissed because I respect the lieutenant governor. I respect his ability. He's new, and we've been working along. But just because you want something to happen, that doesn't mean that you have to run over us.
I think what they would admit is they weren't on their toes and they didn't get their objections up in time. Because I went up after the fact and I asked the Secretary of the Senate, was a motion made? And the answer was yes, there was a motion made.
Lieutenant Governor Will Ainsworth responding to us in a statement today, in part saying he has always followed both the spirit and the letter of the Senate rules. Now, before all that chaos on the Senate floor, they did pass a medical marijuana bill that would let patients with certain conditions legally use medical marijuana. The bill sponsor warning it does have very strict guidelines. It goes to the House now for a final vote. Not final at all yet, Brittany, but already folks are trying to cash in here.
They really are. Several businesses making sure they have a seat at the table. So when it's time to eat, Jonathan, they're going to eat first. 7 businesses have filed for licenses to operate right here in Alabama, one based out of Boston. Instead of a gold rush, it's green for the kind you spend and smoke. Thursday, in a 17-6 vote, the Alabama Senate approved people age 19 and up with certain conditions from cancer to depression to legally use cannabis as a medical treatment. And as of Thursday night, 7 companies filed applications to start cannabis-based businesses in Alabama. Secretary of State John Merrill spoke to us over the phone.
I think there's a whole industry that's excited about having a chance to come into Alabama and to participate in this type of activity.
The first step, securing their company name.
From my observation, people that want to be successful want to make their brand name known as soon as possible.
Merrill says companies filing name reservations starts the application process. So if the medical marijuana bill is signed into law, they're already rolling.
They think the market's ripe for investment.
Although the stipulations to owning and operating a cannabis-based business in Alabama are not yet hashed out, companies can expect to pay thousands of dollars to get up and running. Now, this bill would establish an Alabama Medical Cannabis Commission to oversee the program. Money generated would first go to supporting that commission, Jonathan, then it would go on to the general fund.
A lot of distance between there and final passage, though, but they are ready, Brittany. Thanks. Well, a North Alabama lawmaker is adding more controversy to an already controversial issue. Republican Representative Scott Stathan filing a bill that would get rid of religious exemptions for vaccinations for students in public and private schools. It does leave exemptions for medical reasons. Now to our first look tonight inside that massive Amazon fulfillment center in Bessemer, set to open next year with about 1,500 employees. Amazon pushing the opening back from this year to next, when workers will start off at $15 an hour with full benefits. Amazon says they're ready to train the new hires, and the city of Bessemer ready to get those jobs up and rolling.
It's going to make a big difference for the city of Bessemer. If you think about, we were a city of 28,000 people. To bring in 1,500 plus jobs, and it's up to a city this size, it's a major game changer.
Mayor Gully says the delay actually could be good news, giving them more time to work with Amazon to get schools and students ready to apply for these jobs. President Trump today making good on a promise from the State of the Union, saying his administration is working on a plan to end this sticker shock on medical bills the next time you go to the doctor.
They weren't told by the doctor, they weren't told by the hospitals in the areas they were going to, and they get what we call a surprise bill. Not a pleasant surprise, a very unpleasant surprise. So this must end. We're going to hold insurance companies and hospitals totally accountable.
The new plan would cover insurance plans offered by bigger employers. Those are the plans that state laws right now don't cover. Homewoods Police Department tonight is mourning the passing of this trailblazer. Jesse Mack became the first over-the-mountain African-American police officer back in 1974 and served until retiring in 2006. He came back to work as a bailiff from 2011 until his death from cancer this week. Officer Mack was 75 years old. Motorists stopping on I-459 today here for the procession for fallen Vestavia Hills police officer Andy Kimbrell. Shot to death in his apartment in Gardendale on Friday. Today, his body making its way to Mountaintop Community Church in Vestavia for his funeral. His wife, 43-year-old Stephanie Nicole Keller, is in the Jefferson County Jail tonight facing charges connected to his death. Now to new information tonight on last night's wreck that hurt a Jefferson County Sheriff's deputy. State police confirmed they shut down the interstate just after the wreck because that deputy was missing. Eventually, they say they found him disoriented and walking around the tree line just off the interstate. We're working tonight to get you an update on how he is doing. We also have learned the names of the victims in this deadly crash off the Shades Crest Road cliff. The coroner tells us 17-year-old Jeffrey Said Hernandez and 15-year-old Griselda Flores died in the crash. Hernandez was a student at Parker High School. Flores lived in Forestdale. They are still not sure why that SUV went off the road. More than $15,000 in a Rolex watch. That's what a Vestavia police officer is accused of stealing from a man. A grand jury indicting Timothy Burns this week on theft and using position for personal gain charges. Investigators started this case back in November. He has been on leave ever since. A South Alabama school tonight finally getting towards full recovery 7 months after Hurricane Michael. Crews starting to repair work on damages to Cottonwood High School. Today they installed new bleachers and a new school sign. They plan on continuing to work to repair the gym through the summer. Alabama's 2 senators are giving up a fight to help the folks hurt by severe weather in the state. Republican Senator Richard Shelby today saying this could be the longest the government has gone without passing a storm relief bill of this size. Both parties blaming the other for playing politics and holding up the bill by adding things to it.
I believe that if we can get this package together, if we can do it before we break for Memorial Day, that's our best shot.
If anybody can get it done, you know, Richard Shelby and Patrick Leahy can get it done. It's now the outside interference with the White House that I think is really holding this up at this point.
The money would go to folks in Lee County hit by the tornado, Hurricane Michael victims in Florida, and flooding victims out in the Midwest.
They didn't find it funny or hilarious at all.
And there's a reason this man's prank didn't go over with police. He was trying to pawn his 7-month-old. Robbers kick in a door. They're greeted by a handgun and a homeowner. The wild surveillance video is next in New. New at 10, a Kentucky homeowner deciding his gun was the best way to welcome these would-be robbers. They kick up with the front door, turn the corner, and boom, the gunfire starts. See that muzzle flash there? It didn't stay long. He got off a shot, hit one of the robbers in the hand. They went to the hospital. So did the homeowner. 3 others have not been caught. The mom of that missing 4-year-old girl in Houston, hysterical today here. This is as she found out police had found her missing car. That's 4-year-old Malia Davis's mom. Malia has been missing since last week. Police say inside of the car and the trunk appears to be normal, no signs of the girl, but crime scene investigators are looking over it. Her stepfather says she was kidnapped during a carjacking where 3 men knocked him unconscious. Her biological dad among many tonight wanting to know the full story.
There are so many unanswered questions. It's not for the public to answer them for me. It's not for police officers to answer them for me. It's not for the news to answer them for me. It's for Darian. We have not seen him to answer for me.
Now new at 10, a Florida dad's prank, if you can call it that. It ends up with cops at his front door. The video showing him trying to pawn his 7-month-old child. Tonight, John Rogers talked to both the father and the pawn shop owner.
It's the weirdest, strangest situation that we've ever encountered. He put it up on the counter. He was pretty serious about it, you know, and he spun the baby around and said, "Can I pawn this?"
It lasted less than a minute, but after he left, Jordan called the police. A few hours later, Brian Slocum realized he was all over the news. He called authorities to explain, and soon dozens of officers were outside his home.
They didn't find it funny or hilarious at all. And there was a lot of resources and time and money that went into it. How could you want to get rid of something like that?
Slocum is a single dad with a 7-month-old son named Caden.
I'm waiting on somebody to revive him.
At the urging of his nephew, he started making silly videos on Snapchat.
Hello.
On Tuesday, Slocum recorded his latest stunt.
How you doing, buddy? This is what I got. I know no one under 18 in here, but he's barely used, 7.5 months old. What do you think he's worth?
He didn't think the manager would take it seriously.
Just pawn, I don't want to get rid of him.
I was thinking I'd go in there and the guy would be like, oh, if it's my son, I'd give you 10 grand or something.
Well, I tried.
Slocum says his joke obviously fell flat.
Still plenty of questions tonight over this massive haul of guns, all found inside a mansion in Beverly Hills. The 57-year-old man they took into custody yesterday is now out of jail tonight. It took 30 officers more than 15 hours to clear the house and remove all of these weapons. The ATF says authorities got an anonymous tip about someone selling firearms illegally. Basketball Hall of Famer Dennis Rodman in some trouble tonight because of this video that police say shows him helping folks steal from a yoga studio in Los Angeles. Store's owner says Rodman distracted employees while someone else took clothing off the racks and shoved them in her purse. Another man accused of grabbing a $2,500 crystal piece of art and then dropping it on the floor and breaking it. New video tonight of folks using boats to rescue folks out of Louisiana, the Cajun Navy, if you will here. Firefighters rescued 19 people from their homes here in Bossier City. Crews using a pontoon boat here to grab somebody out of that water-encased home. And from central Mississippi, a woman nearly drowning in this car. This is just north of Jackson. Employees at a nearby business pulled her out when she rolled down the window. JP, this is the same system on our doorstep tonight. It brought us a little punch with winds today. Now